Hello and welcome to the Conscious Leadership Podcast. My name is Julie Hoglin and I am the creator and founder. This podcast covers every aspect of conscious leadership and the Conscious Leadership Code. And if there is a particular example or angle or subject you would like an episode on, please reach out and let me know and I will create it specifically for you. I really enjoyed recording last week's episode about my interpretations of Albert Einstein's quotes. And of course, Albert Einstein was probably best known for his contribution to the field of physics. And of course, many of his quotes are used widely across all manner of disciplines. So this week, I thought I would do the same, linked to quotes from Plato. And Plato is an ancient Greek philosopher. And again, I've chosen the same three subjects, so leadership, change and personal development. So let's look at this one from the leadership perspective. And here's one for you. The measure of a man is what he does with power. And how true is that? We all have power. And what we do with it within our leadership capacity allows us to excel or not. So think about power. Now, power comes in many forms and it depends on how you express your power as to the results you get. So you can be in power, so positional power. You can be the power. So you have the adjudicator's gravel, if you like. So in power, the power, or a power. So you're one of many. And then how you express that power. So are you kind with your power? Are you autocratic with your power? Do you sanction with your power? Now, all of these things, when we think about power, we have the capacity within our leadership position to exert our power and how we use our influence to exert our power. And we can do that really well or not at all and anywhere in between. So think about it. How do you use your power? And going back to the quote, the measure of a man is what he does with power. Now, I use the word man in this instance to be human. The measure of a human is what he does with power. So it cuts across all genders, all ages, across all parts of the world. The measure of a man is what he does with power. So how are you utilising your power? Are you using it well or are you using it not so well? So people can abuse power or not, and they can utilise power effectively or not. And even that, as I'm saying that. So people who abuse power can get very effective results from the abuse of the power. Short term. Long term, it does not win. Long term, it does not serve. So work out who you are. Work out how you want to utilise your power. Work out how you are going to express your power. Work out what you give, work out what you take, work out what you negotiate, work out what you mediate, work out how you arbitrate. There's a lot to this. This is a quote, and clearly I need to do a complete other episode on power and what that really means within the relationships and within our life. So that's one. Let's have another look at one on leadership. So again, and this is from Plato, ancient Greek philosopher. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Really interesting when you think about how old this quote is. So let's bring that into the modern day. So one of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. So let's have a look at this. Now, we can look at politics as being governments of the world. We can look at politics as being within organisations. We can look at politics as being within any relationship you're in. And what this speaks to me about is that if we do not participate in the politics, whatever, interpretation you put on that word for you, wherever you are within your life, you will end up being governed by those that do take part. And this is the truth. Some of those who take part know less than you do. For those of you who have recognised that you have had a bad boss, a bad leader who is over you, really think about why they've got that position and you haven't. When you can see what they don't see, when you know that you can do the job better than them, and somebody said that to me once, put yourself where your mouth is. Stop complaining about the thing and get involved. And get involved to the level that you want to be involved within. So from my perspective, I have got involved in politics within business. I have got involved in the politics within organisations as a consultant, as an employee. I have challenged the system, challenged the status quo. I've challenged the status quo within me, and I've challenged the status quo within others. Have I got involved in politics of government? I do by my vote. Do I stand on the box, on the soapbox? I do at events, I speak at events, and I challenge people's thought processes. So I semi-do at one level, but have I actively been involved in politics of a country? No. That's my choice. So think about what that means for you. Which leads me on to a quote from Plato on personal development. And he says, "The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself." Which leads back exactly to the previous point. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To conquer yourself, you have to know you. To know you, you have to get out of your own way. To know you, you have to accept that you are not the be-all and end-all. To know you, you have to challenge your own personal ego. We've all got it. We all have ego. It's how we then demonstrate that out into the wider world. To conquer yourself, you have to recognise that you're not perfect. You don't know it all. I'm saying this to you. I'm saying this to myself as well. I sometimes get hooked up into me rather than looking externally. And that's not me saying compare yourself to others, because it's not about that, but it's really truly knowing who you are. What are your values? What are your goals? What's your mission? Why are you who you are? Looking at everything that has gone before. We've got past, present, future. Of course, our past creates who we are now. Who we are now, if who we are now is not serving us, we can change it. We can actually change who we are now to become who we need to be for the future, or who we want to be for the future, depending on what your goals and your visions are. Going back to this whole process of the thinking that you've had has got you to where you are. The person that you are has got you to where you be. Is who you are now and who you be now what you want to be and need to be for your future goals, dreams, vision, mission. So think about the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. I 100% absolutely totally agree with that. And here's another one, and this is it sort of made me chuckle a little bit when I read this one. So again, linked to personal development. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Now I know that us as adults, and I'm going to assume that everybody listening to this podcast is an adult being anyone over the age of, I think it's 16, 18. Think about why you learn and remember what you learn and remember. And I've put those two specifically together. So you learn and remember what it is that you have an interest in. And this is a phenomenon of us as adults. You learn and remember what you have an interest in. You learn and remember what you want to learn and remember. Which means that it holds your mind. It goes into your memory. And as adults, the more we can learn and connect to what we already know, the learning becomes easier. It has a greater hold on our mind because it has a hook to connect to. As adults, when we learn something brand new that doesn't have a previous connection, if we can associate it to something that we know from the past, it has a little hook that connects into the mind, and then you can build on the hook. Now think about, as an adult, when you have been told you have to learn something, when you have been told that you have to apply something, when you have been told under compulsion that you need to learn something. It may be something for your work, it might be something for, within life, just in general. Does it have a hold on the mind? Now, most of you will say no, it doesn't. It's harder to remember. You don't really want to remember it because you're being compulsed to learn. You don't retain it. Which I just think as a quote, and I hadn't actually seen this one before, knowledge which is acquired on compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. So think about why you're learning what you want to learn. Think about why you are learning what you're learning and how is it holding on to the mind? How is it going in? And let's have a look at a couple on change. Clearly you can hear the hesitation. I've got quite a few in front of me and I'm working out which one we will do. So let's have a look at this one. It's quite a long one. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. And that goes back to the Marianne Williamson poem. So please have a look at that, about being afraid of the dark and shining our light. And that is a really famous poem. If you haven't read it, please do. So we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. So think about that for yourself. Are you afraid of the power that you have? Are you afraid of what you can unleash when you truly become who you are? And again, as previously, where it says men, I talk about the human, across all genders, across all ages, across all walks of life within the world. So are you afraid of the potential that you hold? Are you afraid of unleashing that potential? Are you afraid of the change? Are you afraid of what might happen when you come out of your comfort zone? Because that creates your light. The more you come out your comfort zone, you grow, you develop, you change, you become something more, you know more, you are more, you have more, you be more. You transform. It's a transformational process. And you can't do that if you are afraid of your own light. So look at what it is that is keeping you where you are, if you are staying where you are. Look at what is stopping you. And is it you? Which goes back to the personal development one. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. And then one more on change. You should not honour men more than truth. And this really speaks to me. Some people put people on pedestals, and they're put on a pedestal, and they're on a pedestal and they are not truth. Their integrity is not truth. So this for me is about stripping people bare. It's not honouring men for what they have, human men, across all genders, etc. It's not honouring a person for what they have, for what they've achieved, for what they have got, possession-wise. It's honouring the person that has the integrity. It's honouring the person that is honest. It's honouring the person that tells you as it is, warts and all. So much smoke and mirrors in the world at every level. So dig till you find the truth. Dig until you can honour the integrity rather than the illusion. This again is huge. I think good old Plato has given me lots of thoughts here, and I think good old Plato will definitely reappear in specific episodes linked to some of these subjects. So this is just, again, my thoughts, Julie Hogbin, on Plato's thoughts around the nature of leadership, the importance of personal growth, and the inevitable presence of change in society and in you. So again, once again, hop across to juliehogbin.com. There'll be a list to sign up to for, regular updates, for articles direct to your inbox if that's what you want. This, of course, podcast produces an episode weekly, so you can get it in, and they're different. I don't directly repeat podcast and article, so there's different things. Again, books are published, more books coming out. I want you to have access to the best I can give you access to. So again, juliehogbin.com. Once again, if you want anything, if you want me to talk about, create an episode around a specific subject, let me know and I'll do it. If you have found value in this, please share the podcast, please leave a review, and thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Conscious Leadership Podcast, and if you have found it useful, please leave a review, and if you have found it useful, please share it with others that will find it useful as well. If you want to know more about my publishing, please follow me through to the Amazon author page, and if you would like to follow me on any of my other social media channels, please do, which also includes a YouTube channel.